Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Chinese Phoenix Day 2. And look, I got the post-it note. No, it'll just be a matter of remembering to put it on there. So, there's my progress from day 1. Oh, he's so gorgeous. I haven't decided yet what color I'll be doing next. Oh dear, and I drop everything anyways. Oh, well, this is what the printout looks like now. So I've got some blue in there, a little bit of green on his body. Maybe I'll continue with green. I could do that. So maybe I'll do the yellow. It's all fairly close except for one tail that goes up. No, actually there's some on the flowers down there, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll decide before I start, obviously. Don't really have much to talk about. I don't have work today, so, obviously I'm going to be working for a while. It is 7:50. I'd wanted to start earlier, but that didn't happen. I had a big breakfast, so maybe I'll be able to go longer without lunch. I will have lunch, though. Like, I always have at least 3 meals a day, so, if my work suffers because I require food and sleep, that sucks. If I did have a genie, though, I would totally make myself not require food or sleep or anything like that. That would be so nice. Like, I like dreaming, don't get me wrong, but I'm not productive at all when I'm dreaming. So... Oh, man. Okay, so I'm gonna figure out what I want to do next, and I'll get started. So I think I'm about to do a stitch that goes a little bit away from the pattern because he, or it, whatever, the phoenix, I'm doing part of his beak and right above where I am is a line that kind of cuts off, so it's not completely his beak. So let me see what this says. Okay. So this I'm about to do is correct. But this next one to the left is supposed to be a full stitch. I think I'm just going to do a 3/4 stitch because there we go. There's going to be a line coming from here to there, and the blue will completely show through if there's a line here and I do a full stitch. I'm going to continue changing up the beak a little bit because I'm just not big on how they have it. So this one is supposed to be a full stitch. I plan on only making it a 3/4 stitch when I come back. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the one I'm working on. And then a little bit here. A little bit here. Wow. I think this is going to look very weird the way they have it. So this one, the one I just did, was supposed to be on this bottom corner. Yeah, they're cutting trees. Sorry for the noise. But hopefully it will look better from the pattern they have. Guess we'll find out. How are you, darling? Huh? You liking the phoenix so far? Yeah? Yeah? Do you like the Chinese phoenix? You're purring. Hi. Oh, baby, look at you. Oh, yeah. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. You saying hi to everybody? My voice just went out. Hey, yeah, don't you chew on that, young lady. You know better. What's out the window, Tess? Oh, curl. 1, 2, 3. You're still purring. You don't look happy, but you're still purring. Hey. Whoop, got your tootsies on the desk. Oh, you're so gorgeous. You are. Woo. You look mildly disturbed. Your booty. Is it, yeah? You comfy now? Are you gonna stitch for me? You come over here and stitch for me? Sit right here? You could totally reach, right? Look, right here. Huh? Tessa says, I'm the fastest stitcher in the world. Woo! I did all that work in like 3 seconds. Oh, I need to take a break. I'm tired. There's so much work to do in 3 seconds. Right? You're still purring. Oh, I went on eBay and I actually found a bunch of variation threads for super cheap and the shipping was free. So I bought the 470 and I think I bought 10 colors in all, I want to say. And they're supposed to get here by Monday. And today is Thursday, right? Let me check just in case. Thursday. And they're supposed to get here by Monday. So, you know, I will hold off on doing that color until I get it. And then, you know, maybe even longer. Depends on if I want to do it, you know, when I have it or not. So, yeah. Variation threads. Yay! Originally, I was going to buy it for the Joann's website, but the shipping was like freaking insane. It cost to get like one thing of variation thread from Joann's, or you know, to have it like shipped to my house. It cost the same amount as buying like, I think it was 4 from the eBay person I found. So I was like, heck no, that ain't gonna happen. They might have been cheaper had I gone to the store, but I would also have to factor in gas in that case, because the closest Joann's I think is like 40 minutes away. So, you know, I'd rather just buy a bunch and not have to worry about it. It's almost lunchtime, hmm?
I'd give you guys an update. I just got some more information on my schedule. I will be working November 9th from 1100 to 1400, Wednesday the same time, Friday 9 to 1400, and Saturday 11:45 to 16:45. And that is military time, so 1400 is 2 p.m. for anyone that doesn't know. Like 1 o'clock is 13, 2 o'clock is 14, and so on and so forth until you get to 24. I'm a military brat, so, you know, I pretty much grew up on military time. I know it already. But, yeah, so at least on Monday and Wednesday, I might work on this, because 2 p.m. the sun would still be up, because I'd get home around 2:30 to 3-ish. So, you know, the sun would still be up, so I'd still be able to stitch. So I might still work on the Phoenix on Monday, on Wednesday. No guarantees though. It depends on how I'm feeling each of those mornings. Because if I feel too jittery, you know, I won't want to work on a big project. But I did have at least one person say they would like to see me work on a small project. So if I do work on a small one, it will begin on either Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday next week. Friday, starting at 9. I don't think I would work that day. I don't think I would stitch that day. Just because, you know, I'd want to make, because it takes me about 20 minutes to get to the Michaels I work at, but that's on a good day, and I'm always paranoid that traffic is going to be really bad. So I leave, you know, like 30, 40 minutes early just in case. So, you know, it would be only a little after 8 that I would have to start heading out, and I don't want, you know, I don't want it to be like that. But, yeah, I think I could work on Saturday too, maybe. No, well, no, because I'd be getting home at after 5. So, yeah. But, I got more work, yay! I was worried for a little while because it wasn't updating. That I was like, oh my gosh, did I do so badly that they don't want me back? But every time I talk to anybody, they're always super nice to me, and anytime I have to bother anyone, I always feel bad, so I apologize. And on my last day, it was the paper ran out in the register, and I had never changed it before, and I don't want to do something the first time and then screw it up, you know, like I don't want to break the cash register. So I had one of the other workers come over and help me do it. Or, well, she did it for me. I watched, and I think I could do it in the future, but in the future I'd like to have someone watching me while I do it to make sure I can do it correctly. But afterwards, I was talking to the other cashier that was with us, and I was like, you know, I still have so much to learn. And she's like, yeah, don't worry, you'll get there. You know, we all started in the same place. And I was like, yeah, I feel really bad whenever I have to bother all of you guys. She's like, it's better for you to think you're bothering us than to, you know, try and figure it out on your own and then have it become a real issue. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So she's like, you know, never feel bad about having to ask for help or ask questions. We've all been there. So, seriously, every worker that I've met while there, even just like in passing, you know, they all smile at me, and you don't have to smile at your coworkers. You just have to smile at the customers. So, you know, they're all really friendly, and some people are really good at faking happy, but most people are really, really, really terrible at it. Like, I remember the day I found out I did not pass Accounting 402 the first time. I was walking around, and, you know, I was smiling at everyone. You know, on the inside I felt horrible. So I can fake happy very well. Like, no one else was like, you know, no one ever looked at me and was like, are you actually not happy? They all really looked surprised that I was smiling at them. So, and Usually it's pretty easy to tell when someone is faking happy because most people are bad at it. But all of them seem like genuinely happy people, like they seem to enjoy their work and the people around them, and I love it. I love working in that kind of environment. Like during my interview, that was similar to one of the questions she asked me. It was just, like what kind of environment do you like to be surrounded by? And I was like, I like working with coworkers that not only do I like and get along with, but they like and get along with everybody else as well. And for the most part, we're happy, enjoy our work. Like I'm not so excited about work that I want to bring it home and work on it. Although if this were my job, that would be perfect for me. but but it would be I'd enjoy it enough that I'd be excited to wake up and go to work. I wouldn't like laze around and just not want to go. So far, I've only worked twice right now, but so far I have been in that kind of environment, so I love it. It's great. um, I've pulled out the yellow because the next color I'm doing is yellow. What I'm planning on doing, if you guys, just want to see, so there's yellow on his head here, on his chest, and then there's a tail here, a tail here, and then two over here. I might be able, I will get to this one definitely, without moving the fabric out of the frame or anything. And I should be able to get to these two. After I finish those though, I'm going to do the purple, which is here on his little beard thingy, I don't know what to call it, the purple here, and then I'll move it up, and I'll get to the other yellow tails and the purple tail. So for anyone that just wanted a preview of what you're about to see, there you go. I just noticed I missed the two stitches that are right here. So once I run out of this yellow, I'm going to go back and fix that. I think it's this same darkish greenish color I have going on, but still gotta check. that is the end of day 2. I only got about 5 hours of footage, but you can really see him. He is looking really awesome. Um, I ended up, after I finished that yellow, I went and I helped my mom with a bunch of her classwork, and it took like an hour or 2 hours. So, I might have gotten a little bit more stitching time in, but whatever. I will most likely continue with the purple tomorrow, but no guarantees. Like I said earlier in the video, so long as I didn't forget to keep it in, I'm working on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday next week. So that means you guys may not get videos of the Chinese Phoenix on what? Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Monday? I don't remember what my schedule is. I upload it and then is it 2 days after I take the video? I don't know. But Pearly got a comment earlier from Carolou saying, Contessa Pearl, you're awesome! You want to tell her thank you? Huh? Yeah? She even put, and Lizzie is pretty awesome too. Smiley face. How do you feel about that? I mean, she made it clear you're way more awesome than me because yours is in caps, and I even got the and symbol in my sentence, but I'm pretty happy. Huh? Are you happy? Yeah? You're happy? I mean, you got caps this time, baby. You got caps. Yeah. Or she could be like me and hold the shift button as she types. Seriously, I hate using the caps lock. It drives me bonkers. I've been typing since 2nd grade, so holding the shift key down is not a problem. I will say though, all those times I went to a Michael's store and I gave them my email address, I always thought that they took forever to type it. And now that I've worked there, I realize it's extremely difficult to like try and use both hands. And then, you can't do it like a normal one because it's based on sensory or like touch, whatever. So you have to like peck at it. And then with the way I am, at least at my computer, I have to peck at it with one finger. So, woohoo. What was I going to say? I don't remember. Oh, so, the next time you guys are at one of the stores and someone is having trouble typing, if they're older, they may have the excuse that they just don't know, where the placement is. But if there's someone who's my age and who who types over 100 words per minute, it's because the setup is dumb. Like, I kind of wish there was a little keyboard by the customer that, like, as I'm scanning, they could be typing up their email. Like, although I will say, as a frequent customer, I do like to watch the screen to make sure things aren't being double scanned. So, whatever. It would be easier if the customer could do it themselves, though, because even when I repeat it back, sometimes, one of us, or we'll both mishear each other, and then it'll be wrong. But that's what I do. Like, I had a girl come in, and she said her name was Crystal with a K. So it's like Krystal. And she was like, no, Kristel. And I was like, backspace, backspace, backspace. Kristel. What? That's not Crystal with a K. Like, I was so confused in that moment because I was just like, what? Like, my mom, one of the girls in her class, her name is Destiny, but it's spelled Destenny. Like, maybe it's because I am very good at spelling. When things are spelled wrong, it bothers me. So when you can't spell the words Destiny or Crystal, it's like, what? Like, Crystal with a K is not a problem. Like, that I get. But when I put it in, I was like, Christelle. Your name looks like Christelle. That doesn't look like Crystal. It looks like Christelle. It looks weird. But, you know, to each his own. My name is Elizabeth, so I've always had a super generic name. But sometimes people do misspell it, so it happens. Although I don't know how many of you guys follow me on Instagram. I got a smoothie once, and my name was spelled Elizabeth with 2 Z's. Like, no joke. I have to pull it up now so you guys can see that I'm not, like, BSing you. It was the craziest thing because I got it and I was like, I have never seen this before. Like, Z is one of my favorite letters, and you know, I like it, but I've never seen anyone spell Elizabeth with 2 Z's. It's crazy. There we go. Elizabeth. Although it, from my angle, it kind of looks like Elizabeth. But, you know, it's whatever. I've never gotten mad at anyone for misspelling my name. I always think it's hilarious. Because unless it's someone with an accent who, you know, they'll spell it Elizabeth, you know, with an S instead of a Z. If they misspell it some other way, I think it's hilarious. Tessa, we're not done yet, honey. Come here. Come here. It's only 9:15. I'm not going to feed you for another 15 minutes. Sheesh. Everyone's going to think I'm torturing you. Come here. That was her saying, you are. Come here. Come say bye. Get up here. If you don't, I'm going to pick you up. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so say subscribe, share, like, comment, all that jazz. And Lizzie and I will see you in the next video. Huh? Are you watching yourself, baby? Yeah, you're watching the video of yourself?